Hello everyone, welcome to my review of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 5. Finally, we made it to the last of the big ones. This is it. This is the last season with 20 episodes plus. Because after this, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is gonna go down to 13 episodes per season. And we don't have any more of those 20 episode seasons. And while I love the 20 episode seasons from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and what they've been able to do with it, for video-wise, that has been a very big grind in order to get this done. It has been, okay? I've had to put in a lot of hours in order to get this done. And to be honest, like a Netflix show or even a Disney Plus show or something like that has always been a bit easier to do, you know? Because like 13 episodes compared to like 22. So while I love this season, and while also I love the other seasons, I'm happy that we're done with the 22 episodes for video purposes only, because it has been a blast to watch. So, what happens in this season? Well, at the end of the last season, the gang was transported to the future, the year 2091. However, it is not our future, it is an alternate future, because the thing is about the future is that the possibilities are endless. So, we can still fix this. So, we are in an alternate future in 2091. And now we gotta go back basically and stop that future from coming true, because of the fact that the earth kind of went boom in that future. And we cannot have the earth go boom, boys. We cannot do that stuff. So let's get into the casting then, shall we? And there are some people that I will talk about that may only be relevant for the first half of the season, but that's because of the fact that I will only really talk about the first half of the season, because the second half is more where the spoilers come from. So I will not talk about the cast in that one. But first, let's go over the squad, shall we? Because the fact that we've been doing that for about 4 videos now, this being the 5th one. So starting off, Clark Gregg is back as Phil Coulson, doing once again a really good job. He is such a great character. I will say that. Like, normally, like these new characters that don't really exist in the comic books, they don't really last all that long, because of the fact that they usually feel like either self-inserts or something like that, which is never really a good thing. However, not this series. No. Coulson has been a fully fleshed out character throughout these seasons, and he is back once again. And Clark Gregg is just absolutely perfect as, portraying him. Then we have Ming-Na Wen as Melinda May, and she has a big thing that happens to her in this season, but it really only happens to future her. And the way that now her has to deal with that is actually really fun to watch. Then also we have Chloe Bennett back as Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, still doing a really good job with the character. I love it. Then after that we have Ian and also Elizabeth as Leo Fitz and Gemma Simmons, as I always do. I cannot pronounce their last names. I will apologize to the actors, but I just don't know how, okay? I just don't know how. I'm sorry. But they were fantastic together, and to be honest, this is kind of, in a way, their final arc in that sense. This is what we've all been leading with these two characters on over the course of the show, and it is absolutely beautiful. And then next up we have Henry Simmons back as Alfonso Mackenzie, or just Mac, our big brute teddy bear that we have on the team, our Baldy of the squad. And he's great as well, and what he has to go on in this season, in a way, is also really entertaining to watch. It is more like, I'll say it like this, it's coming to terms with killing. That kind of stuff. That is the best way I could put it. That is basically his arc for this season, in a way. And also he has a special secret second arc that I don't even know he knows that he is on, but well deserved, my friend, well deserved. And then finally, for the old squad, obviously we have Natalie Cordova Buckley as Yo-Yo Rodriguez, or just Yo-Yo, we'll just call her Yo-Yo. I don't actually know what her name is. I'm just reading it off the MCU wiki. You have a name outside of Elena Rodriguez, also known as Yo-Yo. There you go. I don't know, it just says Yo-Yo Rodriguez on the MCU wiki, so I didn't know, but Elena. But she does a really good job as well. Sadly enough, she does have a disarming incident this season, which is very sad. But overall, very nice to see her in this season as well. Very good the way that she acts, mainly in the last couple episodes. I love the way that her character is written in that sense. So let's go into some of the new cast members. So starting off, now this one is not necessarily that important yet, but I still wanted to mention him. We have Joel Stuffer as Enoch. He is a Chronicom. I think that's how you pronounce it, or whatever. Anyway, he's a robot, basically. That's that's how the season opens, by the way. It's not necessarily a spoiler. And he's the one who sends the gang to the future. He's the guy that we saw at the end of the last season to send the gang into the future. And while he does have some of an important role to play, he doesn't have, at least in the first 10 episodes, he is there. Like I said, I only talk about the first 10 episodes. Speaking of which, we have Jeff Ward as Deke Shaw, a character who also is very important in the first half of this season. Very much like this guy, because later on, I kind of start to see myself in him, and I very much like that. I think he's a fun character, the way that he just hates all of the stuff. Like, everyone in the future is trying to keep their heads down, and then Coulson and team are like, okay, we have to fight back, and he's like, what is with you people? What is wrong? Just keep your heads down, and we'll survive in that sense. But no, it's like, yeah, we'll take on the bad guys. Like, don't. Speaking of bad guys, we also have Dominic Reigns as Cassius Acree, who is our villain for the first half of the season. Well, we are in the future anyway. And we actually never really learn his first name, because a little bit of a spoiler warning, Cassius is not his first name. That is his last name, because that is the family name. You know, his dad is also called Cassius. And I liked him as a villain. I mean, he isn't really the greatest villain that I've ever seen, you know, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We've had better villains over the course of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he's kind of a little bit whiny in a way sometimes, but that is also the way that the character is written, and also the way that the character is supposed to be. He is supposed to be powerful in a way because he's rich. He's not supposed to be powerful because he actually is a powerful character. He is more like, my men will kill you if you will disobey me, that kind of stuff. And that's it for the cast members. And overall, I thought that the season was really good. I love the way that they do the whole time travel storyline as well. I will say this might be a little bit controversial, but this one does the time traveling story way better than Endgame, because of the fact of one simple thing, and that is the fact that these idiots, they go into the future. Meanwhile, the Endgame squad goes to the past, and that is where the problem comes into play, because you can change the future. None of that matters, because the future is full of, as Sonic would say, endless possibilities. Meanwhile, the past is kind of set in stone, so if you change something in the past, it is gonna affect the future in that sense. So I love the way that they tell the storyline. However, the way that they end the season in a way, you know, the way that they, like, I don't really know how to talk about this, but like towards the end of the season, it feels like, really? That's all you needed? That was like a reaction that I had, you know, but I'm saying too much. I'm trying to keep it spoiler free, obviously. I know this came out like 10 years ago, but still, I'm trying to keep it spoiler free in that sense, because spoiler talk is coming. And I will say this, before anyone's wondering, it's not the longest one. It's shorter than season 4. Let's just say that. It is still over 2 hours long. I haven't been able to cut it down that much. I mean, I'm already close to 2 hours, and I still got about 20 minutes of editing to do. So, yeah, it is gonna be over 2 hours, but it's not gonna be 2 hours and 40 minutes like season 4. But to be honest, that was the Ghost Rider season, so I had a lot to say, okay? But I tried my best in order to speed through the season. But like I said, I love the way that they go through the season. I love what they do in the season. They even have a filler episode that later on turns out not really to be a filler episode, and I actually very much enjoy this season. Also, they have an episode where they bring back a character that I am a big fan of. Not that one, but the other one, actually. He's a doctor, let's just say that, okay? But they bring back a character that I actually very much enjoyed that episode a lot. I thought the way that they handle everything is really well done. And also, I sympathize with actually the quote-unquote main villain of this season, because in a way, this season is kind of split in two. But like, the main villain of the season is very someone that you can sympathize with. So, that's it. I cannot talk anymore because I will say spoilers. Outside of one more thing, and that is the fact that, according to official sources, this was actually kind of planned as the finale of the series. In case they weren't gonna get a season 6, and they got also a season 7. But anyway, they ended the season as a finale. So you do actually get that feeling of like, this is it. In a way, that is basically the way that this season ends. And also, to anyone wondering, the end of this season does tie into Infinity War, okay? So basically this, the last 3 episodes happen over the course of Avengers Infinity War. But here it says on the MCU wiki that Jet Whedon and also Marissa something wrote this episode as a potential series finale in case the show was not renewed for a 6th season. However, that comes into some problems, but we'll get there when we get to season 6, because that is not what we're gonna do next. So let's just get into final verdict then, shall we, for this season. So my final verdict for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5 is gonna be, you guessed it, a 10 out of 10 to me personally anyway. It is a 10 out of 10 absolutely loved it, the way that they handle everything, you know. While not everything is perfect, to be honest, a 10 out of 10 still doesn't mean that you're perfect, because technically nothing is perfect. But I still thought that this season was as close to perfect as it can be. However, I will say this, I like season 4 more, but this is the second best season Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has to offer. So let me know what you guys thought about this season in the comment section down below. With that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you haven't done so already. Turn on notifications, don't forget to check out the Let's Play channel, link in the description and at the end of the video. And I'll see you guys next time. At least, you know, in the MCU timeline, for we're finally here. After 50 projects, we finally made it to Infinity War. We're here. I can't believe we're here. I'm so excited. But yes, we are here. Next time is Infinity War, the beginning of the snap. Bye.